Hey, so first off, I just want to apologize for the quality of my mic. I know it's pretty bad, but I don't record that often, so I haven't really invested in proper sound equipment to do this. So if you've ever played the BioShock games or No More Heroes 2, I think this was originated in Pipe Dreams, the game. I'm sure you've seen it somewhere where you've got a grid of pipes, you've got a collection of corner pieces and straightaways, and you just have to form a coherent circuit from the input to the output. And so I've got the power source is my little key here, and the output is the treasure. So the key will unlock the treasure once you get a line going through. And so the power source is the key. And you'll notice that underneath that redstone bead down there and that lamp aren't on because the pipe isn't connected to the power source. So as soon as I rotate this one, and you'll see the pipe's now connected to it, the light will come on, but it's not powering anything around it until I turn it one, and now it's going into this middle gate here. If I turn this one, and now you've got two pipes connecting, it'll allow the circuit to flow through, and now this one's flowing through to that one. So it's the same element throughout all of them. It's just a single object that I repeat. And once all of them connect coherently, it'll unlock the chest. And if any of them are wrong, it'll just lock again. So you can form this however big you want. You can do whatever kind of size of puzzle you want. You could have multiple inputs and multiple outputs, um, things like that. So the core mechanic of it is just a series of droppers and hoppers all circling into each other. I have it going clockwise, but it doesn't really make a difference if you go counterclockwise. And wherever the item is, it's sending an output. As soon as you power all four by a button, it'll rotate all four of them 90 degrees. So if you want to make a straightaway, you just put an item into two opposite ones instead, and now there'll be a straightaway. Same thing if you want to just add a third one, make it a cross or a T, I mean. And then if you want to add one more, it doesn't really make a difference because they're just powering all four, but you get the gist. So that's the easy part. The harder part is making it coherent where it'll only detect where the pipes go through. So what I originally had for this was when you'd rotate it, it would activate pistons that would allow inputs and outputs to come through that direction. The problem I ran into with this, though, is as soon as you had two connecting and you put power through them, because it's powered by repeaters, they would just connect to themselves and loop. So I was trying to minimalize it to just one repeater, um, or just one signal going through so it couldn't loop. So I tried doing this, and as you can see, this loops too. And then I just ended up, I tried a bunch of experiments, ended up just YouTubing a two-way repeater. So as you can see, the output will send across, and it'll work in the opposite direction. I'm sure you guys have seen this before somewhere. The only thing I did different was in this little gap in between, I put a redstone torch and added a lock onto it. So these things, the way they work is that this bead, when you press this button, will invert from this torch, and that'll invert the torch underneath, giving power to the other side. As soon as you have the lock on, this torch will constantly power this block and power both sides of the bead, and it won't allow the other side to invert because this bead will constantly be on. So it's just a two-way repeater with a lock. And so figuring that out, I started working on the display for it. The display is just a comparator going up to a bead, inverted twice to a line of redstone lamps. So as soon as you put an item into it, all three will light up. And if you take the item out, all three will turn off. It's pretty straightforward. You just do that for all sides. But the very important part, you'll notice that it's not symmetrical. I could have made a shape that's like kind of like a swastika over here. But the problem is when you put them next to each other in a grid form, the corner pieces of those armatures aren't anywhere near each other, and it's very hard to connect any redstone between these two without interfering with the redstone above them. So to fix that, you kind of have to use this design of these wonky shapes where all the verticals go to the left or all the horizontals go up if you're looking at it this way. But if you tile that, it'll always connect to each other. So these two will always connect. Same with that. These two will always connect. So you can build AND gates out of these, which is exactly what you do with these. So these two are facing the same way. They both go up. They form an AND gate coming out of the first block that connects to the piston and locks it. So as soon as both of these have items in them, both of these torches will be off. It'll unlock the piston and allow output to come through. So you got three requirements where first requirement, this one's facing the right way. Second one, this one's facing the right way. And third requirement is that it's actually being powered. And if either of them are facing the wrong way and you try to put power through, it's locked, so it won't allow. So that's pretty straightforward as well. The last part is pretty easy too. It's just this little blue part here to add to the display. You have another AND gate coming out of the other side of these ones that are a block higher. And the AND gate isn't actually connected by 3 redstone, it's just 2 redstone on the sides of a block with a torch. So if either of these torches are on, this torch will be off. But when both of these torches are off, it allows this torch to be on. And that'll just invert a signal twice and turn this middle block on. So as long as both sides are facing the same way, it'll turn that middle block on. And that's just to kind of help with the display, make it like a full line across. And that's pretty much it. That's all you really need to know. You just do this coming from all directions and all sides of the grid. This is the example I have over here. If you go in the center, you can see where it's that design. On this side, it's facing this way. They don't mesh anywhere. Like if you only do the 3 wide and coming out 2 blocks, they won't mesh with each other or interfere with each other's redstone. Even where you think this torch would interfere with the ones next to it, it's the same thing on this side, and it's safely a block away from the corner. So you can always do that. When you want to add an input and an output, you can just do a piston coming down from the repeater like the original design, and have that powered by a block underneath. So if this one isn't facing the right way, it'll turn this piston off and it won't receive any power. Likewise, this one is the same thing. It's just sending the input out through a repeater to that. So if this one's not facing the right way, it won't receive or it won't receive any output. And that's pretty much the full extent of everything you need to know. I hope you guys use this in some puzzle maps. I'd love to see it on YouTube. So yeah, enjoy.